Hey guys, that's right, you know what time it is. Let's get started. So in this video of the MSR workshop, we're not in the woodworking shop today, but we are in my home theater. Now, one of my passions other than woodworking and cycling is home theater. And while I haven't done a lot of videos on home theater in a long time, I felt this was a really good, important video to do and share with the community. Now, one thing I felt that has not been talked about enough in a number of forums is low subwoofer output. So, point an example. Somebody gets a brand new subwoofer. They're used to having subs in their house that sound good, but they want to upgrade and get something bigger. So they go out and purchase a brand new sub, get it placed in their house, and they have low output, and they don't understand why they're having low output. So from some of my reading and some of my discovering and research, what I have come across are a couple different problems. One is that your subwoofer just could be in a spot that while your other sub worked, this one isn't currently working, and that could be because of a frequency null in the room. And so, getting a program like REW and a calibrated microphone can help flatten out that frequency response and get it to sound better. Other reasons is just plain the placement of the sub is just terrible. But another problem is you're seeing more and more processors skimping on the output voltage. And what do I mean by that? So your pre-outs and your subwoofer outs are putting out a lower voltage than is required by that particular subwoofer to really activate it and bring it to life. So point an example. I replaced an older Pioneer Elite SC37 that had about 4 volts worth of preamplification, sending it to a preamp if I'm going to use it that way. So about 4 volts. So that's a good amount. But most newer processors, you'll find from the manufacturer that they're only putting out about 1 to 1.5, sometimes 2 volts. Well, a lot of newer subwoofers like a little bit stronger signal. So I think what's happening with a lot of people that have upgraded their processors and then have gotten new subwoofers is that output voltage is too low to really wake that subwoofer up. So what have I done? So I have 2 brand new subwoofers in my system here. I got the Monolith 13 THX Ultra subwoofers. They are a big 13-inch driver, rated about 2,000 watts RMS each, and so I've got 2 of them in my system. To get the volume that I've wanted in my current system, what I've had to do is I've had to turn the gain all the way up, and then in the AV processor, I'm having to bump up the levels all the way up to like a -6, a -7, or -6, and even higher, just to get that volume. Now, that made me think that 1 volt that my processor is putting out is really not strong enough. And so I had read somewhere else and some recommendations from other subwoofer manufacturers that you can buy something like this called a stereo line preamplifier. And I will link this in the description below. It runs about $45 and you can get it off Amazon. But what this does is that increases the signal voltage sending to your subs. So in theory, when I get this hooked up, I should be able to turn the gain up, turn the gain down on that one, and have my processor set at an appropriate level. So I will have a bunch more headroom if I need to increase or decrease the volume, instead of sort of close to getting maxed out, and that's really not where this should be. Yes, I still could have a little bit of a null in my room, and I do plan on getting REW and checking where I'm, possibly getting frequency dips. But as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and try this, and so you're going to kind of follow along with me. Now, this is a stereo. You have a left and right. This will work only if you hook one up, and I just tried this on a little amplifier just to make sure, but you can run one sub on one side and 1 sub on the other side. So if you have a 2-sub configuration, you don't need to buy 2 of these boxes. So let's get this hooked up and see what kind of a difference we are getting with my settings. So how I'm going to hook this guy up is, this is the little box that is going to have 2 cables connected to the back of my subwoofer outs. Now I do have dual subwoofer outs in the back of my processor, though they are not separates, which means the system doesn't recognize them as individual subwoofers. They're still considered one, so it's a 7.1 if I've got a 7.1 system, or so on and so forth. But they are still 2 plugs. So I'm going to plug one connecting cable to the back of my processor and another to the back of my processor, left and right. And then I'm also going to plug a left and right up to each subwoofer. And this is a little power. So I'm going to start off with the volume all the way down on this. It goes from 0 to a 15 decibel gain. We're going to turn everything down in the subwoofers so we can creep up on this just to be safe. Don't want to mess anything up, don't want to blow anything up, because that would be bad. And yeah, let's do that.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.
All right, guys, so my theory did come completely true. So I was able to turn both subwoofers back to the THX set, and then on the AV processor, I have it like a -6, -7, whereas before I had to max it all the way out, and -6, -7 was just about right. So I have my little box set to about 10 decibels on that. Really happy with the way it turned out. I do have it on a plug that I can turn on and off, so it's not on all the time. But let's do a little sound test real quick so you guys can see what it sounded like. So we're going to do a little quick test shot. I don't want to show the screen because I don't want to get dinged on copyright, but here is a little shot of Ready Player One. Guys, I hope you enjoy this. I really do recommend you checking this product out if you're having bass problems and the output isn't what you expect, especially if you've updated your processor in the last couple years. It seems like more and more manufacturers on the 1500, 2000, maybe a little bit more range are going to be outputting about that 1 volt, and some of the newer subs want just a little bit stronger signal. So give that a check out, and if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, be sure to leave them below, and stay tuned for more videos that I drop. Thanks, guys.